The UK Time Out on Radio Biafra, bringing news beats from across the United Kingdom, incisive analysis by the People's Parliament. Our panel dissects the topic of the week, and listeners interact.
Also featuring great Biafran history, education, awareness, and enlightenment, plus entertainment galore.
Tune in to the UK Time Out on Radio Biafra, Sundays from 7:30 p.m. Biafran time and British Summer Time. Set out for a fabulous week ahead with the UK Time Out on Radio Biafra. News, views, previews, and reviews. Join us.
Good evening from the United Kingdom. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever your location is. Welcome to the UK Time Out on Radio Biafra. I'm your host, Ikechukwu Nice Mwokoro Ichie Mwachinemere. I hail from Onitsha, Ezinite, Owerri Province in Biafra, and I serve my beloved Biafrans as the IPOB United Kingdom National Coordinator. On behalf of the IPOB UK family, I say a very warm, happy New Year to each and every one of you, and send you best wishes of healthy, prosperous, and progressive 2025 ahead of all of us. On this special edition, the New Year edition of the UK Time Out on Radio Biafra, we'll be looking at the topic, New Year resolutions, declarations and affirmations, their applications to the restoration of Biafra. And I have a very distinguished, insightful panel tonight to dissect this topic, and together with you, because we welcome your phone in, we'll be sharing what our thoughts are, our reflections are about the new year 2025, a special year indeed, following up on a very special, unique leap year that was 2024. As is customary on this program, we will start with a word of prayer in the language of heaven and bring you the news piece before we go into the topic of the day. Ekekero wa jayama onye bibeli gwasa onye anyị na-eto dị mma onye anyị na-akpọ isi ala were ekele niile na-enye Chukwu okike abịa ma nwe onye yiri gịnị anyị bụ mga gbakọkwa ọzọ n'ụbọchị taa n'ime afọ ọhụrụ a n'ime ọnwa ọhụrụ a ụbọchị ụka nke mbụ n'ime afọ ọhụrụ ihe ga-ekele pụrụ iche n'ihi ebere gị, ịdị mma gị, amara gị n'ebe anyị nọ iji chekwaa anyị bata n'ime afọ ọhụrụ, afọ nke i nyere anyị, wee kwa anyị nkwa na anyị ga-enwe mmeri n'ime afọ a. Anyị ayọọ gị mgbaghara mmehie ụzọ ọbụla na-esi na mmehie gị eze, biko mere anyị ebere, gbaghara anyị, ṅụọ m ike ebe anyị nọ, nyere anyị aka n'ihi na ya adịghị ike, adị bụ ike anyị, chi bụ ike anyị. Eze biko, akwa anyị na-ebe kemgbe afọ, si n'afọ ruo n'afọ, ka o ruo gị ntị, anyị ma na o ruo gị ntị, ka eze anyị ekpere mere anyị ka anyị si ayọ gị dịka ka o si dị gị mma n'uche nke gị, n'ihi na ị mazụrụ ihe niile. Anyị ayọ gị, nye anyị ume, nye anyị ike ịlụ ọgụ nke nwere onwe anyị nọ n'ime ya, na-adaghị mba na eleghị anya n'azụ, na-atụghị egwu. Nye anyị udo, nye anyị ịhụnanya, nye anyị eziokwu, nye anyị nkwuwa okwu, nye anyị kwụwa aka ọtọ. Onye emegbula nwanne ya, nwanne emegbula nwa mmadụ, nwa mmadụ emegbula nwa mmụọ. Nyekwa anyị ahụike, nye anyị akụ na ụba, ihe akụ ihe inwe ihe na ga-eji wee lụọ ya bụ ọgụ, wee lụọ ya na ngwụdobe. N'ime afọ a nna ka mmiri wee bụrụ nke anyị otuto wee laghachiri gị. Anyị rakwa nwa gị nwoke Maazị Nnamdi Kanu, onye ndu anyị rafee n'ọba aka gị, ka ịgba ya ume ka oge na-ete ha aka dịka ikwere anyị na nkwa ka o si n'ụlọ itere apụta ọbụla dịka a na-aga ụlọ ikpe n'ime ọnwa a n'ụbọchị 13 eze mekwa ihe iji bụrụ chi oge na-agaghị ite aka metụ aka n'obi ndị na-achị obodo ọjọọ akpọrọ obodo zoo Naijiria ka ha wee tọpụ ya n'agbụ nke ha ji ya n'ihi na onye ji nwata mara ji onwe ya ka o nwere onwe ya ka Biafra wee nwere onwe ya ka anyị si n'aka oro wee pụọ mekwe ka ụmụ Biafra niile ebe ọbụla anyị na-anọ na ma ndị nọ n'ụlọ ma ndị nọ n'ụzọ ije chekwaa anyị ekwela ka anyị aka n'iru ma anya ahụ butere ebe anyị nọ ụbụ nna ka ụjọ bụ anya ahụ na mee ka anyị kwụdosie ike n'ala nke nyere anyị chekwara anyị ụmụ akwụkwọ anyị ụmụ ESN na gbaa ha ume mee ka ihe niile ha ga-eji wee na-arụ ọrụ rute ha aka metụ ụmụ Biafra niile ba niile ebe ọla ha ma aka n'obi ịkwado ụmụ ESN na ọrụ a na-arụ n'ihi na ọrụ a dị oke mkpa anyị nwere olileanya na ị ga-emezuru anyị karịa ụka anyị rịọrọ gị ma n'ikpeazụ ya otuto niile nsọpụrụ niile wee laghachikwara gị n'ihi na naanị gị bụ ọkaka naanị gị bụ eze na n'ime afọ ọhụụ a n'ime afọ 2025 mee ka ihe ịrịba ama dị iche dị na ya anyị na-eme chụpụrụ anya ndị ajọ mmadụ na ajọ mmụọ ụmụ ekwensu n'ụzọ ọbụla ha si ma ndị nke na-anyị n'ime ma ndị nke nọ n'agara ma ndị nke nọ n'ezi gbaa ha ule uwe ha n'anwụ mee ka ikuku fee ka ahụ otile ọkụkọ ka a mara ndị bụ ụmụ gị n'eziokwu na ndị ji aghụghọ na mpụ na arụrụ ala wee na-eso anyị mezuru anyị karịa oke m yọrọ taa na oke m chetara na oke m na-echeta ahụ n'aha nwa gị Yeshua Hamashiach 5 ọ ga-adị ka ọlụ ebube mmezi Chukwu ga-enye anyị ihe anyị na-arịọ mmezi Chukwu ga-enye anyị oke ruru anyị chai amara m na ọ ga-adị ka ọlụ ebube anyị ekwerego n'oge Chukwu ka mma anyị gbacha lekaleka n'uche Chukwu ga-eme anyị gbacha lekaleka akwa mgbochi ga-etiwa n'ihi na amara m na ọ ga-adị ka ọlụ ebube. Coming up is news base, then we go into the topic of the week. Stay tuned.
Happy New Year, dear friends and lovers of freedom all over the world. You are welcome to this week's Newsbeat, being the 5th of January 2025. I am Mazi Uzochukwu with another Cindy. Good evening. The IPOB UK Cabinet 2025 Transformation Advisory Committee last Thursday submitted their report to the UK National Coordinator, Chief Ikechukwu Nwokoro. Thanking the 5-man Cabinet Advisory Team, Chief Nwokoro reassured them that their pieces of advice will be taken into due consideration in his final recommendation to our leadership, pointing out that far-reaching decisions on positively transforming our operations consistent with IPOB Code of Conduct will be implemented from this first quarter of the year. The UK National Coordinator emphasized the need for all UK family members, particularly principal officers, to wake up and be counted, outlining his intentions to streamline our service systems to enhance efficiency and greater productivity, highlighting that officers must own their assigned duties with a greater sense of responsibility. The UK National Coordinator has equally sent a solidarity message to IPOB Liverpool Zone and the Northwest Regional Executive, who held their first meeting of the year yesterday and today respectively. Chief Miles Nwokoro thanked Chukwuokike Abiyama for granting IPOB UK family members who traveled to Biafra land for this Christmas and New Year festivities journey messages. Giving guidance and policy directions, the UK National Coordinator enjoined members to redouble their efforts this year as we move resolutely towards our quest for owning this release and Biafra restoration. He emphasized that we must undertake serious reflections and reformations to bring about the true positive transformation that would enable us to realize our dreams, trusting Elohim to strengthen us all as we continue in our movement for the restoration of our nation, Biafra. Chief Nwokoro equally stated that a year planner and an activity schedule would be published on our forums very soon, advising the UK family members to earmark vital dates ahead of effective participation. He stated that we need to work smarter, utilizing our time efficiently, which will entail even distribution of tasks and talents to meet the demands of our movement going forward. The ongoing UK performance evaluation spreadsheet will be updated and deployed to good use without fear of favor, while a pledge to positive realignment and reshuffle of our pack will be kept sacrosanct. Our primary action slogan for 2025 is "We move and we cannot be moved."
Every head of directors of state, Mazi Chikeredem, has warned the Tinubu government that Biafra land is out of bounds for any cattle ranching or settling scheme, either in the form of Fuga or anything else. Mazi doesn't want that if Tinubu does not desist from the prudent from imperial powers destabilizing Biafra land under the guise of Fulani heads ranching, the land of Biafra will consume all those who come with the intentions of conquering the people. IPOB Hatred Days, Mazi Chikeredem stressed the need for a new mindset as we move forward in this year 2025. In this new year state of the nation on live broadcast on Radio Biafra and BTV, Mazi doesn't reclaim the spirit of IPOB faithful, in particular, and Biafrans in general, with some prophetic lines, such as some have fallen by the roadside, some have endured to reach the mountaintop, and looking down have seen the green fields, but we cannot turn back and walk down the mountain. The Hatred Days called on every IPOB family members worldwide to wear the steadfast garment of sincerity and unity of purpose as we embark on this journey of consolidation and transformations in 2025, intensifying campaigns to ensure that our leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is unconditionally released from Nigerian DSS dungeon, as well as make landmark attainment towards our Biafra restoration mission, while announcing that key performance indicators are in place to constantly evaluate the output of IPOB principal officers, warning non-performing and underperforming officers will be sanctioned. Yesterday, the DOS Secretariat released a summary statement of the Hatred Days address during this landmark broadcast, restating the focus on the IPOB mission statement and the policy directives and objectives, especially to 2025. Meanwhile, IPOB European National Coordinator held the first meeting of 2025 last night to strategize for the year. European Rep Mazi Austin Abraham, who will be our special guest on the UK timeout next Sunday, updated the national coordinators of the year's programs and plans as mapped out by our leadership, encouraging the national leaders to involve working solutions to specific problems faced. The in the country of jurisdiction. The national coordinators expressed confidence with DOS while pointing out areas of improvement.
IPOB have denied any knowledge or involvement with Sheyi Tinubu and our leader's family, which entails that the IPOB movement would maintain neutrality in the rigged 2023 presidential elections and not issue any civil disobedience directive against the elections in the southeast, while President Bola Tinubu will release the incarcerated IPOB leader after his victory. Last Friday, some members of Kano family issued a public statement through Prince Emmanuel Kano, aka Fineboy, lamenting that the Nigerian President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has failed to uphold his own end of the bargain reached through his son Sheyi. IPOB DOS not only denied knowledge of such illicit deal, but also maintained that the IPOB leadership has never and will never send any member of the Kano family as delegates or emissaries on any official duty, since they are not IPOB members in the first place, stating that IPOB have been aware that unscrupulous members of the Kano family covertly use the name of IPOB and Nnamdi Kanu to cut dubious deals with politicians at our back, and have always maintained that such deals are not binding on our movement. IPOB have channels of communication through which it can be reached, and the Kanu siblings, whom several web-publicized IPOB disclaimers have been made on their accounts in the past, are not one of IPOB chains of communication or command. IPOB leadership has clarified that our decision for IPOB ambivalence in the 2023 presidential elections were influenced by a variety of reasons, ranging from the concerted effort to dispel the violence of the paid agent provocateurs who were banking on using the name of IPOB ESN to destabilize the elections in the southeast and pin their crimes on IPOB and Onyendu. It was also to demonstrate to the Igbos, in particular, who were enthusiastic with P2B's candidacy for the presidency under that the Nigeria electoral and judicial systems were already configured against Biafrans, especially in the Igbo. Consequently, IPOB maintained neutrality to let our people learn and understand some lessons.
The IPOB leadership is one that the insecurity in Biafra land is mainly due to the inept attitudes of our leaders in Biafra land, including those of Inohaneze, who will not stand for the interests of all people, rather are instruments used by various arms of the Nigerian government and allied of the Nigerian government and allied alien forces to control the lives of our people. First member Mazi Chinesamoro last week described Inohaneze leadership as part of the deep state that has been used by the Nigerian government to control, blackmail and destroy any group that wants to challenge the Nigerian politics in Biafra land, thereby constituting themselves as ever-present threat to our restoration of Biafra. We will maintain that these wicked Igbo leaders contribute hugely to the impunity and insecurity in our land because they seek to destroy IPOB and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Inohaneze would elect a new President General this week, Friday, a position zoned to Rivers State, but has generated unnecessary controversy. IPOB will not relent, hence the ESN will continue to resist matchings of insecurity in our land in spite of intimidation, harassment and betrayal. Where our own people are being paid to blackmail innocent compatriots. This weekend, viral videos of two wannabe political thugs and traitors known as JPAC and Governor Ezeoku, who being shamelessly sold out popular activist Ujetim Jaka to the Drunken DSS, falsely accusing her of raising funds in the zoo for IPOB, knowing fully well of the impending dangers of such serious treachery in the zoo. IPOB now carry out fundraising activities in Biafra land, not in the zoo. On another note, Navikanu's judicial review applications on the restoration of the bail conditions will be heard in an Abuja High Court on January 13th. Details are expected later this week.
Former political aide to ZU ex-president Goodluck Jonathan, Reno Omokri, has observed that since Nasser El-Rufai left office as governor of Kaduna, no one has heard of killer herdsmen wiping out Christian communities in southern Kaduna, alleging that El-Rufai was responsible for Christians killed by Islamist terrorists in his state during his tenure. In Kebbi State, 50 Lakurawa terrorists on motorbikes killed 2 police officers at a checkpoint before going ahead to rustle 200 cows in the community. Elsewhere in Kuki village in Randage, Barani Uguari local government area, locals reported that jihadist bandits also roasted herds of cows, looted local shops, and killed a 7-year-old girl. In another development, the former Nigerian Labour Party presidential candidate, Peter Obi, has lamented his personal and family suppressions by Tinubu's government, stating that Nigeria is now one of the worst places to be in the opposition. Obi observed that Nigerians are suffering and the country is unproductive, revealing his shock when on January 1st, 2025, he visited an IDP camp in Abuja to celebrate the new year with the camp inmates, where he met over 1,500 children in the camp who are not attending school, despite their eagerness to learn. Obi wondered how citizens could live in IDP camps in their own country where there is no war. American influencer Wow Vicky expressed outrage at the level of poverty and hunger in Nigeria despite the bubbling nightlife activities in urban Lagos and a few other cities. This is an indictment on political leaders who have weaponized hunger and poverty as a tool of control to cause mayhem in the country. Meantime, Tinubu, who was on an official visit to Enugu State, promised his regime will complete the abandoned Eastern Rail Line, which runs from Igbocha, Port Harcourt to Maiduguri in the northeast. The zoo president, while answering requests of his Igbo political audience in Enugu, also said he would commit to the Anambra Basin development, which holds an estimated 1 billion barrel of crude oil as well as 30 billion cubic feet of gas. Successive APC administration have paid lip service to the development of the Southeast.
Foreign investors are fleeing the zoo at alarming rate as the Tinubu administration plunges the contraction into more murky economic and social-political quagmire. Latest international assessment reports have disclosed. In related developments, several West African nations including Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger have asked the French to leave their country. Senegal and Chad have followed suit in issuing France the eviction notices. Also, Ivory Coast government under President Alassane Ouattara has said the French must pull out of the country beginning this January. France has as many as 600 troops in Ivory Coast.
This expulsion ultimatum comes at a time Russia has advised France to relinquish her stranglehold on Africa to allow the continent and the people to develop. The Togo Republic, Niger Republic Head of State Brigadier General Abdulrahman Takani recently accused Nigerian President Bola Tinubu and other members of her security cabinet, such as the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu, of collaborating with the French, not only to resort to expel French military contingents from the Sahel countries in northern Nigeria, allegedly involving the collaboration of Boko Haram and Lukarawa terrorists to perform sabotage operations against Niger's national assets, resulting in some facilities being blown up in the Niger-Benin Republic borders. Elsewhere, Zimbabwe announced that this week it is abolishing the death penalty in favor of more civilized correctional justice system. That's Newsfix this week. Thanks. Continue to listen to the UK Time Out. Return after this short break. Compliments of the season.
It's a new year. It's a new dawn. It is the year of our Lord 2025, our year of true positive transformations. As we learned here during our special Christmas episode from our Lolo Uchechi Opukano, transformations all starts with deep, dispassionate reflections on the year past or years gone by, then to making conscious resolve towards efficient reformations that ultimately result in truly positive changes. Sometimes we perceive revelations that cause us to receive prophetic declarations on the unfolding calendar year. Some people call it prediction or forecast. In our quest for Biafra, there is always a need for the affirmations to the movement and her mission statement to enable us claim our sovereignty and proclaim our freedom. At such auspicious time as the beginning of the year, like now, especially the year following a unique leap year like 2024, it's imperative that we put this topic into proper perspective. With me to x-ray the dimensions of these discussions is a balanced panel of spirit-filled Ezigbo Chineke from our UK family here, with sound philosophical and theological knowledge and background. I am pleased to welcome them. Lady and sir, may I address you as such? Kindly introduce yourselves to our listeners, beginning with our lady in the house.
All hail Biafra.
Biafra, we heard thee.
My name is Wada Arachichi. I come from Ahia Zongise, Imo State. I belong to the Glasgow Edinburgh family of this lovely movement, and I am a Roman Catholic. Thank you so much for having me here today.
Thank you. It's about that Biafra watching it. Manu, thank you.
All hail Biafra.
Biafra, we heard it.
Yes. My name is Mazi Afunwa Ukeje. From Ukeje, hail from Utsukweto. I reside in the West Midlands, and by the grace of Chukwokika Biama, I serve the indigenous people of Biafra as the coordinator of the Milton Keynes family. Well, I also want to say Happy New Year to the UK family and the IPOB family at large, worldwide. Happy New Year to our able leadership, the Directorate of State. I want to say Happy New Year to our leader, one and only Mazen Nandekano. And I want to extend that right away to the immediate family. I want to say Happy New Year to Lolo Uchechi Anyanwotutu Kanu. And our son, Nabikem, who recently celebrated his birthday. I say happy birthday to Nabikem. We're here today to enlighten ourselves, and I'll hold it at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you, very detailed indeed, and I'll say happy, healthy, prosperous New Year to both of you, and once again to all Biafrans, friends of Biafra, lovers of freedom, our dear listeners. Sister Amarachi, let me start with you. What do you think of New Year resolution? As an ordained Reverend sister, do you believe in New Year resolutions?
I will say I believe, because resolutions are often attached to expectations, which has a little touch of superstition to it. So any religious being will always believe in the beginning of something, just as you said, New Year. A resolution is the decision to do something or not to do something, which is followed up by, it is always anticipatory by that action that has to do with reflection, because you need to reflect to know your present situation and to make decisions on what to do in the coming months. Personally, I would say yes, because apart from the yearly decisions, I kind of divide my resolution short term and long term, and I would say yes, I believe in them.
Okay, thank you very much. I obviously would have expected that from you. Sister, let me just check with you, because there's a sound, I don't know whether it's from the background or whether it's from the studios. Madam, let us check. There is a re-echoing sound. So if you have any device, maybe you're listening to Radio Biafra while still on air, kindly turn down that device completely so that it doesn't bring the echo or interference. And also, as a general rule, we know is that when we are not speaking, if we stay on mute, to make the sound quality coming out of our listeners of better one than when there are echoes, interference, and also some sort of background noise. Please, if there's anyone with any audio or any other device that is on at the same time as the one that you are speaking from, kindly kill the audio completely. Our listeners will hear you loud and clear, and at the end of this program, we normally share the recorded version to those who missed it and everybody to re-listen to it. I agree and align with her sister there. For me, growing up, New Year resolutions were customarily annual proclamation rituals. Sometimes you just say it because you have to say it. But as I grew older, especially once you ask like me, the resolutions kind of stare a little bit, and I now see them then. That doesn't mean I don't mean them. So, okay, let me come to you. Are you any different from me and Sister Sachi?
Chief, nice. Well, I would say not at all. New Year resolution is something that we all grew up in our own little ways when we're still kids. You are encouraged to say what you would like to accomplish. But time has passed and we have got to a point where we have understood that resolution, which we usually do during the New Year's, is a way forward. It makes us to be self-aware and encourage us to think about what it is that we really want to accomplish within the year. If it is done properly, it can create a good roadmap for us to develop a more fulfilling life. And just because you say personal, I would maybe later we start to get into as IPOB what resolution would help us to accomplish or what has already helped us to accomplish. So I strongly believe that New Year resolution is a wonderful opportunity to really take stock, reflect from where we are coming, and project to where we want to be at the end of the year. Though I hasten to say it's always good to have them in bits and not to take it so much, and try to find a way to checkmate, to evaluate what we have accomplished from time to time. So I personally believe that New Year resolution is very wonderful and is encouraged for everyone to have one, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Machineke. As Ebubu Machineke, IPOB family members, we are believers. So it's good to note that three of us here, attention, representing the majority of us, believe. Now that we already believe, I want to ask you a direct question again. Okay, starting with Sister Marachi. Do you have any New Year resolutions for 2025? If you do, could you, is it something that you want to share, at least a couple, or at most rather, here with us on air and with Biafrans, or are they really private? I mean, you don't have to disclose if they are very private. When precisely did you make such resolutions? Because Saul KJ just rightly pointed out that we normally make resolutions towards the end of the year. Some people are more spontaneous than others who are more meticulous. People, lastminute.com people, in terms of resolution, rush a list. And then they say, oh, this is my New Year resolution. And the list might keep growing anyway, even in the New Year. So, do you have important New Year resolutions that you want to share with your friends? When did you make such resolutions?
Of course, I have New Year resolutions that I have made, and it came from my past year's experience. Apart from my spiritual resolution that has to do with building my relationship with God, in terms of my human relationship with others, I would like this new year to be more resilient in this awareness of our freedom. Because yes, we are in this particular movement, we are standing up for our people, but we must not deny the fact that there's a lot of challenges challenges that can discourage us from moving further. So for me this year, I will have to build my resilience more so that I can be able to reach out to my people the more. And another thing, or two things I've also put on my New Year resolution is two activities. One, I've already started it, that has to do with promoting Igbo language. I call it Speak Igbo and Win, because I'm a social media personnel, so I kind of do things that will promote our culture. So I have this activity where you speak Igbo language for 10 minutes and you earn something. It's not about earning, it's about encouraging our people to speak our language so that our language will not fade or die. The second project I have this year to achieve in terms of culture is my Ojibo. So I want to create this particular program where all those of our traditionalist brothers and sisters that play Oja, the flute, is our traditional mouthpiece that we use to communicate with the gods of our land and our ancestors. So I want to realize it this year to bring them together so that they can appreciate the gift, because that's a gift. Not everybody can play Oja, so that they can appreciate that. So the essence of it is, as an IPOB member, we are not called to close ourselves in our circle. You know this better than me, Martin Okoro. We are called to kind of open up to our brothers and sisters. We give them those values so that they can understand the importance of their identity, and from there they pick up the need and the quest for this particular freedom. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sister, for that sincerity, honesty, and transparency, and also your spirit of sharing and giving. I noted key projects or solutions you know, Igbo and Win. That's quite interesting. I want to volunteer to be one of your promoters and get my family involved as well. And the idea is to communicate with our ancestors. Very, very spiritual. And coming from you, the Reverend Sister of the Catholic faith, I think this is something of huge significance. People should please take note. And for those who confuse themselves and try to confuse us by religion and our tradition, some things now you know, and you will hope to learn and know better in 2025, so that we can actually impact more on people. The right sound foundation of education. Thank you so much, sister. I really appreciate that. I would share mine towards the end of the let's come. Do you have like sister those as you want to share openly? You can learn from you. Some people are still wondering where they will begin. So as they listen to you, they can start drawing inspiration and find their own yes.
Yes, if nice. I do have some couple of New Year resolutions, but I will just share very few. And as well say, it's never too late for people to come up with their resolution as the year goes by. Personally, I observe the previous year because I do think that resolution comes from reflection of the past. I personally want to do something, follow up certain programs that got to do with health promotion. As well, encourage those around me to take it a bit serious, to take a close look at their health. I observe that some people around me and some friends that know me when we ever talk about following programs that will promote the health, some people will tell you, oh, doctor's appointment not well kept, not well followed, and stuff like that. And though we are, we say, generally healthy, but it is very important to keep close look at what we do to promote our health. I love anything natural, but that does not say the medical patient must not be neglected. So I was discussing with my immediate family, and that it is very important that when we have appointments, that it is followed to the letter, and as well, even when we feel okay, we all should always get to the next level when we have those appointments. Having said that, while our sister was sharing, I cannot say, before you said you volunteered to be one of our students, I said I think this would be a nice one on the learning of Igbo and as well promoting it. So I would say I volunteer to support her in that mission. Yes, though it is a personal one, but I think going forward, New Year resolution for me, I tend to take them bit by bit. On the side of the movement and my involvement, my unwavering support will be channeled towards the leadership position. Looking at whatever, at every point in time, what point we are, what is the next step. So as a coordinator, to be able to let those around the family know what exactly is expected. So these are all intertwined, because in the movement we find ourselves, sometimes it takes more time than we expect. So, but to take that compass, that would help me to be able to evaluate the achievements, because as a movement, as an institution, IPOB is an institution, whether anybody likes it or not, that's why we have a way that we can be able to evaluate what we have achieved so far. So I tend to toe that line of following the movement's leadership position and where we are going. So that's what I have for the moment. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Health is wealth, and health promotion very, very key. Honestly, it's like we are forming some synergy tonight. I'm exactly aligning tonight, even though I would say mine towards the end, beginning from the very simplistic to the more ambitious ones, like some of these. But I cannot agree less, Mazi, that health promotion is key. Here in the United Kingdom IPOB family, between December 2023 and the whole of last year, you and I, you've worked with the different teams, handling a lot of these challenges we faced here. We lost about 7 people, if I'm not mistaken. Now, this year on air the other time, that was really surprising age range of most of that we lost. May their souls continue to rest in Biafra. In this last year, average of maybe 50-year-old.
Yeah.
We've never blamed them, but we never know what could have been prevented. They say prevention is better than cure. So health promotion is very key. I still agree with you. Same way I align with sisters, promoting Igbo, teaching and writing Igbo language. I was one of the pioneers that pushed for teaching of Igbo language communities in 2010 or 2009. We started Igbo language school during my time as the president in my region here, and it's still on today. How much it has transformed the lives of our youth and enable our people understandable and to speak as much as they can. That's the learning. So these are 2 projects that are very important. I'm glad that you guys have thinking, reflecting in this direction, and bringing our projects out of such resolutions. And all I can say is that those resolutions come to fruition this year. See? He said, now let's look at New Year resolution this way. Sister mentioned before about expectations, and I also said predictions. Are resolutions always products of end of year reflections? How are they different from these reflections and predictions? And do they actually change people's conduct, attitudes, and general behavior? I mean, I don't know, but it's my experience that sometimes we make resolution within January, it's all falling like a pack of cards. So what real impact do they have on people's conduct? Sister, let's again start with you.
So, resolutions are often fruits of reflections. And when you make a resolution, you have a high expectation. And this high expectation can be to your advantage or disadvantage. What do I mean? That just as you said, sometimes middle of January you're already falling apart with your resolution. But the fact that you did not achieve that month's decision doesn't mean that you shouldn't go on. So what happens is sometimes when we don't meet up with our resolution, our expectations fall and we are discouraged. We abandon our resolution. While we are expected as people, knowing fully well that we are not perfect, that we might not be perfect in that resolution. So what happens when I make a resolution? Just as I said, I have these resolutions I want to achieve in this year. So my expectations are high, but deep inside me, I know that I might not get it 100%. But I wouldn't mind if I get 40 of it, which means a part of my resolution has been achieved. Then if I get 60, wow, I'm happy about that. So what matters is having a resolution, putting your expectation high, but it is very important, just as I said at the beginning, that we have a kind of short-term resolutions that then merges up at the end of the year to that great achievement. So how exactly do I want to achieve that resolution? Yes, I want it to be 100%, but how? Many of us, when we make resolutions, we don't think about how to achieve it. We don't put more pressure on how to achieve it. We just look at, oh, I'll be doing that, I'll be getting there, I'll be doing this. No, you need to plan your resolution. Just as I said, I have this great project I want to Ojibo. I've already started planning it, thinking about those that can help me. Is it something I can achieve personally? No, I can't. I need my Igbo brothers and sisters to support me in it. And each one of them that will be part of the team that will achieve this will definitely have something specific to contribute to that team. So it is not about making resolution, having high expectation, but knowing how to achieve that resolution is also very, very important. I don't know if I answered your question, Mazi.
Perfectly well. Perfectly well. In fact, you just killed me to line of thought I was having, and I'll also share my own personal experience, exactly what you said. New Year resolutions are not Christmas wishes for the next December. Maybe this is the mistake we make at times. We shouldn't be about hopes and anticipation either. Rather, New Year resolutions should be more of action plans, exactly what Sister said, and have a clear thought out propositions rather, and program or a plan of implementation or schedule of implementation. It's a project, I said earlier on, and you have to apply all project management skills and methodologies and systems the way you would on any project. And this brings me to share a personal experience. Growing up, and then during my late secondary school days and university time, I was smoking cigarettes. I love my St. Maurice. But many people couldn't believe I smoke cigarette because I'm a gentle smoker or a respectful smoker. I don't smoke on the street or any open place. In my closet or quiet corner of a pub or something, that's the only place I smoke. And I did smoke very well. But I was blessed with red lips as a young man growing up. You think I apply lipstick? So fortunately or unfortunately, never changed my lips. So you wouldn't believe I smoked cigarettes. I carried on with this during my youth service days in Lagos, 97 or thereabouts, going to 98. And towards the end of the millennium, I made it a New Year resolution in 1999, I think it was, to quit cigarette smoking. I quit. I fell within the hurdle. I quit again. I fell within the hurdle until I now said, okay, it's going to be my the millennium New Year resolution. I had a very lovely ashtray one of my cousins gave me from abroad then as a birthday present. Golden actually. I burnt it. Burnt all my packs of cigarettes that were left on that 31st December. And, made that, like you said, be resolute about it and said, this is it. This is going to be the end of it. And since that day till today, I quit cigarette smoking for good and for life. Maybe it's helped my health. Maybe it's also helped to keep me going. Nobody knows what would have happened by now. And that is almost 23, 24 years ago. And I didn't even believe it could happen. So this is my own testimony of a New Year resolution that actually come to reality. So okay, let's now look at what, since I already nailed it there, my concern now is why do some New Year resolutions don't last? Sister said already, when people fall, they want to stay down. No, get up. Or keep going. That should be the attitude towards resolution. So why don't they last? What is the main issue? Is it lack of willpower? Is it temptation? Unfaithfulness? Peer pressure? I mean, I'm giving you some of that. Your own experience and your very experienced man. Why do these things not last at times? Or we can't sustain them?
Yes, our sister actually help us to understand certain things that got to do with setting up New Year resolutions. But as you rightly said, we're human, we must make mistakes. So coming back to your question, if nice, there are a couple of things that do work against our resolutions. Especially for those who see it as a ritualistic thing, they don't go further to translate resolutions into habits. I believe that when you set out to achieve, it is not just a wishful thinking. And also sometimes there's kind of unrealistic expectations. One of the biggest criticisms of the New Year resolution is that we tend to set lofty and often unattainable goals. We do not care to work out step by step. As you said, it's a project. Step by step, how and when you intend to accomplish what you're starting. Because when you have how and when, that makes it more realistic to evaluate at each time where you are. One of the things that also do hold our New Year resolution back is short-lived enthusiasm. At the point of making a resolution, we are very enthusiastic about it. We think, oh, that is it. The difference between a second before the midnight and a second after the midnight does not translate to everything has come to become new. It is only in the mindset. So there is need for us to be a bit persistent in what we want to achieve. And shortly emphasizing the initial outburst that accompanies the start of the year can quickly wane down as quickly as possible, even within weeks. So I think that some of the things that hold our people down towards getting a resolution achieved is they just pronounce it, and they thought the pronouncement would be the fire that they need to carry them through without defining the actions step by step. So there might be so many other things that, depending on individual abilities and understanding, but what we're here to share, or what we're sharing today, is for our people to understand that resolutions should not be a wishful thinking. It's a good thing to make resolutions, but it should come from the reflection of what you have gone through over the years, and you start to make points. Even before the new year, I think resolutions should start from stage maybe first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, even before the new year. So that will help us to actually put into perspective what we need to cover as we go into the new year. So if we do not do all these things and just wait to the midnight of the new year and we'll make pronouncements, and some of us even think, oh, I have to be in certain places to cross over. Yes, these are rituals, these are things that are okay, but it needs more understanding of doing it as a project than just pronouncing it or wishing it to happen.
Yes, I think I agree with you. Making it stepwise. Social media has made new month a huge celebration. Every new month you see all over their social media handles, happy new month, this and that. So maybe we also apply that to resolutions. Break it down to new month resolutions, and then aggregate it into a new year resolution towards the end of the year. Since I don't know what to think about that, maybe this might be a practical step towards making resolutions really meaningful. But what I wanted to ask you is that you can also add other reasons, perhaps why people or why New Year resolutions don't really last beyond January or Easter for some people. And as well, give us some recommendations you would like in the form of advice to IPOB members and Biafrans at large making New Year resolution. I'm very glad that you said that one of yours this year is to be more resilient in your application or your work in the movement, which is a fantastic foundation. What would you advise other Biafrans?
Well, what I will advise is we don't need to be in a haste to make these decisions. Take your time. Sometimes people don't even think about New Year resolution until the 1st of January. And they're like, oh, I need to do something. So you just say whatever comes off your head. It would be nice if we reflect deeply before taking those steps. That will help us, because when you reflect deeply, you more or less have an idea of the need you have to achieve that thing and how you can do that. So that is the first thing. I think the only thing I will advise. But in terms of the IPOB movement, I will humbly suggest we diversify our activities. And I will explain. In this past years that Maazi has not been with us, or rather has been indirectly with us, the HOD and the DOS has been giving us directives. But from my own little reflection and understanding, I don't know it all. I think most of the times we focus on one particular thing, and we kind of leave other things to float about. I'll make an example. Maazi Chinasa, the last time he came out, he spoke about environmental support, something like that, helping nature, building. I think that was the last program he held. He spoke something about that, about agriculture. Sometimes when you listen to some of our brothers and sisters, those things, or maybe rather, let me not talk about, let me say, as an IPOB member, myself, what I do is, when I listen to Maazi Chinasamu or Maazi Chike Doziemu, I think one of them spoke about these things, I personalize it. I think, how can I bring up, how can I present this particular thing to others, to my brothers and sisters, my Igbo brothers and sisters, or my Biafran brothers and sisters? Sometimes I create content on that thing so that we can get to the grassroots. But if we all stick to just one topic because we want to talk about it, these things they are pointing out to us will never be treated. Nobody is gonna do it if we don't do it. So I would like to plead with every IPOB member, whether you are in the media, whether you are not in the media, you're just doing everyday thing. When you listen to the live of the HOD or the DOS, because they kind of sensitize us on the need our people have at that moment. So when we listen to it, elaborate it, bring your knowledge, put your knowledge in it, and spread it, so that our people will get to know about it and start thinking about it. For example, all this substance misuse that is damaging our youths. Maybe a time Maazi Chinasamu has spoke about it. But we need to be battling it. Some of our media personnel, they say things about it, they take it as a topic, yes. But we don't just speak about it then and we leave it. Let us keep battling on it until it sinks in our system. So I would like us to have this diversity in a way we carry out our duties, each and every one. If you're in the health sector, you know how to relate it, you know how to speak to it, even to our women in the market. You don't need to say, hey, I'm an IPOB member, that's why I'm saying it. Talk to that person, be human with that person. When the person starts listening to you, then you have an opportunity to bring the gospel of liberation to her. Thank you.
100%, I am with you, and I'm glad that you're bringing this up this time, just a few days, a couple of days after the HOD made his landmark New Year State of the Nation broadcast. He did mention about refocusing on the movement's mission statements and core objectives, and sort of ask principal officers to wake up, exactly, not like echoing my own words, what I've been saying in the past 1 year here in the UK, to wake up. As a principal officer in particular, we have a duty of care to lead or champion this diversification sister is talking about. And our leadership has also set the example. Many ways of diversification, you mentioned agricultural, geographical, or environmental impact assessment projects, which we have started with the, grow what you eat, feed yourself, if you like, not be an operation feed the nation, feed yourself, because you have to be healthy, you have to be well fed, to be able to fight the battle of freedom fighting. You can't be hungry and do that. Also, Sister mentioned about engaging people positively. It's not only about claiming education. It is more of about engagement. Mobilization for me is the highest form of education that our people require, because that is the actual practical education. Meeting them at their stations and relating with them as humans before you even talk about the agitation. But your interaction, your communication has already softened the ground. You've done 60% of the job already. And that can only come if there is true community engagement and mobilization. Because we need that at every facet or stage of our movement. More especially when we get the opportunity of the referendum. Because without engaging the people properly, without mobilizing them properly, you run the huge risk of losing the referendum. Then all these works of the past 12, 13 years or whatever year it takes us to get the revolution will go down the drain. As in Chukwuebona, with all the many blood, much blood, I'll say, has paid, and the lives we have lost. There we get the opportunity of referendum. It should be hooray for us. It should be hooray for us. We should win it landslide. It's not assuming. For me, at times, I do feel we just assume bogusly, like New Year resolutions, that is a given that will win it. How sure are we? Without putting the craft, without putting the real hard work, it will be there training. And that's why I totally agree with you, sister. We need to diversify the operations of the movement. People who are gifted in different areas, come forward, don't hide anymore. This is what I keep saying. In the UK here, we created 11 national teams, diversifying and distributing the operation for people to engage. It's less than, for my estimation, the evaluation record we have is less than 35% involvement or participation. Some people hold positions at zonal, at regional, even at national level, and they do not perform, even up to 15%. And you ask yourself, why? So this is honest advice to us, and people should look in the mirror, because reflection is best when you're looking in the mirror. You're speaking to the man or the woman in the mirror, but that change must come from us, from you, from me, before others. So thank you very much, sister. I think that's a wonderful piece of advice to me, to yourself, to each and every one of us, as members of this hallowed family, IPOB, and also as Biafrans, who truly desire our freedom. Now, let's move on to the next one before I will be thinking of opening the lines for our listeners who may want to join us to come in. We have already agreed, I will assume, that these New Year resolutions definitely will lead to reformations and positive transformation. That's what we're talking about here. Can you relate that to the renewal of our IPOB oaths of allegiance? Some of the things the HOD said, I've already shared it, and I encourage you to please share it as wide as possible to all our families. Some of the things the HOD said in the broadcast, the ones that the European Red printed last night in our European National Coordinator, which I'm sure he will talk more about when he comes on our program next Sunday as our special guest. Some of the ones I've been saying over and over, and I'm sure all of you are saying, all boiled down to the same thing. All of us. How do we distract from negative tendencies, gossip, excuses, lies, pettiness, jealousy, and all the little things that drag us down instead of moving us forward? So, Mazi, please come in there, but I'm getting a bit hot with this now.
If nice, no, sister, you have really set the ball rolling, and at this point, we are now turning the focus to ourselves, the IPOB. Initially, we kind of were giving advice on our resolution point, but now we are coming home. And it's very, very important, because whatever IPOB does is built on reflection. The leadership is always proactive and calm and calculative. The oath of allegiance of IPOB is one of the distinguishing attributes that set us apart from so many other organizations we know or we have come across. IPOB is built on values. It's built on the core values of Biafrans. The oath of allegiance we undertake is very important because it keeps us on our toes. It keeps on reminding us why and what we need to be doing at every point in time. Just the same way we go to our places of worship every Sunday, we as well do that. When we recite the Apostles' Creed, when we remind ourselves, I believe. That is a continuous process. So when those people who do not understand the importance of oath taking and oath uplifting the oath we take, I would always refer them to what they believe and I relate it to that. IPOB being an institution, just like any other institutions, those who have political appointments take oath of office. The oath of allegiance brings us home because we are a people that have gone through difficulties, untold hardship, avoidable hardships. We are people that have been set out for extermination. All of us know what we have been passing through in the country we helped to build. So when we come together as IPOB and we say this is our oath of allegiance, I don't expect anyone to have problem with it because that is just the first step. We could gather just like any other cultural organizations we have in our society, eat and drink and do that, but since those things have been happening, there's no tangible effect in where we're coming from. So the oath of allegiance is a constant reminder that we cannot afford to fail, that we must watch each other's back, that what we are doing is just and genuine, that we must toe the line of leadership and we must toe the line of the head of the Directorate of State. We must always keep focus on the press release. We must always remember what was communicated to us in the past and where we are as we speak. So oath of allegiance will always remind us that there are consequences for what we have undertaken to do. You will swear not to make sure that what you are doing will not jeopardize, will not be an impediment in the life of another member, will not be a stumbling block in the wheel of progress in the movement, the IPOB. These are pure, crystal clear things that we need to do that will help us to remain on the track. So the oath of allegiance as well, from time to time, could be modified. Things could be added, even where, as we speak, I'm sure, if tomorrow the head of the Directorate of State, of the Diaspora of Biafra, think it wise to add one or two, they could still modify. But where we are today, it is very important that we keep reminding ourselves the importance of oath taking. If you have not renewed your vow, it's very important. When you do it, to remind yourself After all, we do it weekly, even when we go to church. So I think the oath taking, or the importance of the oath of allegiance in IPOB cannot be overemphasized. It is something that we must continue to uphold, because we are seeing results. Though people can renegade, unfortunately, or that is the human weakness, or that is not, we are not talking from the position of weakness, we are talking from the position of strength. Oath of allegiance in IPOB is very, very, very important.
Of course it is. I know that topic, we will create a particular program for it and exhaust it comprehensively, but just touch a little bit that if people were to fear the wordings of their pledge or oath, they would be more aware of consequences of deviations, indiscipline, insubordination, and the rest of it. Sister, I remember that when we did the E-Summit at the beginning of last year, you gave us the talk or lecture about oath taking. You confirmed then that the oath of allegiance is not satanic, is not demonic, neither is it diabolical, as some people speak. I know that this is not the main topic of today, but why would someone take their vows, not minding the consequence? Relate that to why would somebody renege on their resolutions, New Year resolutions? Or sometimes people deliberately renege on their New Year resolutions. I know there could be temptation and other reasons given earlier, but some people willfully fall into the temptation and embrace it and give it a huge hug.
Mazi, I'm just gonna a little bit ironic. Our people find time to judge the oath of allegiance, but they don't think twice when they're about to take an oath to be a citizen of a country or not. They just into it. So,
yeah, absolutely.
It's funny, but it's true. So they will judge, why would you take an oath? As if IPOB is not a secret society. And when it has to do with oath of allegiance, you are making a promise to those children whose life we are taking without their consent, violently. You are making a promise to those Biafran gallant men that stood up for fairness and justice. So when you, from the deep of your heart, decide to stand up for such, you wouldn't be thinking about what Luke or Mark will be saying. You'll be thinking about standing up for the innocent. We all know that up to today, nobody has ever stood up to apologize for that genocide. Nobody. And you are promising them that you will keep the flag flying until justice.
Except just got in there, except the what has been flying online this week from a 90-year-old Gowon, which he can categorically come out to say, he has never been repentant, neither any of his cohort, about the genocide.
Exactly. So, if you at a point, I don't know, I'm just going to say this because I believe that any staunch IPOB member, because the fact that you are an IPOB member, I keep always saying that doesn't make you a perfect person. If you are not called for that mission, or you join that mission just like the HOD said, for your personal reasons, you will not understand what I'm saying now. But if you are called to be in this movement that stands up for the Biafrans, you definitely understand what I'm about to say. When I wake up in the morning, as a Christian, my first prayer goes to those children. when I have challenges, yes, as an IPOB member, there are things you hear that you just feel like, why am I even here? Is it not hard time? When those temptations and challenges come your way, that is when you understand the oath you've taken. You will not find peace. You will not find peace until you come back and pick up that flag and keep flying it. So, the last time we spoke about it, I spoke about Ajana, because Ajana stands as a kind of witness to what you are doing according to our tradition. But what I want people to reconsider very well before jumping into doing things, that tomorrow you might think, okay, let me just join, maybe that will give me a way to get paper, to get this. You might get paper, you might get everything you desired in, but you might not have peace of mind, because you have disappointed not the living but the dead. Those people, those children who died innocently for no just cause. So when we talk about this, stop deceiving yourself by saying, this is... When you stand up to take an oath because you want to be an American citizen, you want to be a German citizen, you want to be an Italian citizen, you want to be the citizen of whatever country in the world, you don't remember that is an oath you are taking. But when it has to do with your people, then you like to connect it to evil acts. You like to connect it to idolatry. You have to connect it to something which it is not. Through the vote of allegiance, you are promising Biafrans, living and dead, that you always stand up for fairness, you always stand up for equity, you always stand up to defend who you are, irrespective of who is involved. So please, let us correct this particular thing. Everything that comes from our land is not evil.
At all, not at all.
We should start. Because many of us, when we became citizens of other countries, we post it on social media. But we did not tell those people that are congratulating us that we took an oath to serve that country, that nation. Then when you are called or invited to be part of those standing up for equity, now you remind me that you people take an oath. It's not a good thing.
Yeah. Sorry, sister. Let me let's revert to this topic. I'm sure definitely there is one of the topics scheduled for oath taking, and I'm 100% sure I will re-invite you on the day we will dedicate to oath taking and the full ramification. Thank you very much for that insight. It is important to also understand Igbo or Biafran cosmology in the context of universal metaphysics. That is where the saying that derives. Sometimes I keep saying the danger in slogan or sloganism is that you just think is a song. You just sing without knowing the meaning of the lyrics. Or like people recite national anthem and pledges. I mean the oath you said for citizenship without even understanding exactly what they are doing. We'll look into that topic another day. But I just wanted to relate it to reflections and what goes on. Mazukeji, before I open the lines, let's look at why do people find it difficult to resist the temptation to renege on their resolution? Or rather, why do they easily succumb and then the resolution falls apart? While you take on that, since I'll come back to you to look at, because you mentioned at the very beginning, these resolutions are a bit like superstition. So I want you to tell us the similarities and any differences, how relate them. So let's start with why I get our listeners to be ready, because the line will be short so that you can be part of us.
Yes. It's nice. Within our society, since after the pogrom against our people, the massacre against Biafrans, we survived it. So many lives lost. Thank God, today we have IPOB educating us on what we need to know or what we should have known. That war kind of made our people to become a bit kind of trying to survive as individuals. But actually, it should be a rallying point for us, because it was a collective disaster. It was a collective suffering. We should actually turn it the other way around on what the Nigerian state intend to use it against our people. They have failed in every promises. They have actually sponsored to death insecurity in our land. So our people have kind of been caught in bit and piece, and they start to look only on themselves. But that's the worst way to survive as a people that have passed through this kind of experience. Our people, we are known to be people that we don't let each other to go. But when we say Onurubewan Naban also, we don't joke with it. And that has actually helped us even after the war to survive against every odd. But I think the selfishness of certain individuals to think of themselves alone, when they get into the movement like IPOB, they think it is like what they are used to. Like any other cultural organization, they belong. Like any other community association, they belong. Actually, I would say that IPOB have become the conscience and the consciousness of our people. That is what IPOB represent. Because while we have some people that come into IPOB, take oath and really get in their oath, that tells you that they thought it is business as usual. They rush in only to find out that, oh my God, this setting is different. This setting has do's and don'ts, and they actually mean what they say. I'm not surprised sometimes when you see certain people going backward to the oath they took, because it has to do with personalities. So many of our people have baggages. So many of our people have certain things in life that we do not know. We only come with our hearts, but some people think, oh, that is an opportunity for me. Perhaps I will survive. Some people think this is a value for me, for them to get their personal interests sorted, be it paper, be it thinking, getting position in IPOB means a personal achievement. But to their greatest surprise, when we start to remind them that, listen, if you are in IPOB, just as Onyendu will always remind us that his allegiance should be or is to the dead. We have millions of people, children, elderly, that have lost their life in this very pursuit of our freedom. So coming into IPOB, you have to understand that this is a selfless movement. People in IPOB sacrifice everything to make sure that what we have survived would not repeat itself. Unfortunately, our people, due to their carelessness, continue to cooperate with the enemies around us, and we see what we're seeing today. But we know where we are going. That's the most important thing. The IPOB, as I said, is a consciousness and the conscience of Biafrans. So I think, despite their shortcomings, thank God our eyes is fixed on the ball. They will definitely come, and those who are meant to stay will stay. Those who cannot withstand the heat must leave the kitchen, so that we forge ahead to where we are going. They will.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We come with our hearts, others come with their heads. And Oshukwu Kabiama, who searches the heart of men, knows it all, and he will not fail to expose, as I said in my opening prayer of this program, anyone who has not come into this mission, this movement, with the right spirit and mentality, and who is unwilling to yield their old mentality. That's what New Year resolution is about. It's about the renewal of our minds, our spirits, our inner being, and the willingness to transform it from the old that is not so good to this new that is so ever so pleasant and very good. That's what New Year resolution should be all about. I don't think it makes sense to make a New Year resolution that will make you a worse person. Every day of my life, I pray to be the better version of me as I wake up. Otherwise, there's no point actually waking up. The New Year resolution should be about being a better you, a better version of yourself, and how you can also impact on other people to be better in their own lives. And as a collective, we will all be better, and the best of us will come out. Dear listeners, the lines are open, or should I say the line? Yeah, just one line today. If you're calling from within the UK, as usual, I advise that you call direct on 078-177-96032. I take that again, 078-177-96032. If you're calling from outside of the United Kingdom, you are best advised to call on WhatsApp. The same number, but on WhatsApp. +44 781 779 6032 on WhatsApp, please. Don't call on Telegram today, because last time we tried it, there were so many calls, then the more or less jam is one line. So one person at a time, please. And today's format is, when you call, introduce yourself very briefly, tell us your number one New Year resolution for 2025 and how you think that will positively impact our Biafra restoration mission. And lastly, maybe you have very briefly too a piece of advice for IPOB family worldwide and our leadership. We'll be glad to take your call, but before we receive the first call, Sister, will come back to you, looking into that aspect of the spiritual side of what we declare with our mouth. It was about resolutions, declarations, and affirmations. What are the similarities of resolutions, New Year resolutions, and superstition, and any differences?
I can tell you the similarities, because I think they are kind of connected. You know, as an Igbo person, Igbo woman, when I make a resolution, I believe that Chukwu Okike will bless my plan. And that is that atom of superstition that comes in. You know, you believe that the divine is involved in what you are doing. So I think they're kind of related. Because for somebody who doesn't believe, I think it would be hard for that person to actually think about a divine presence in what he or she is doing. But for me, that believes, I'm a Christian, in all I do, I always believe that the divine presence is there to bless my resolution, to bless my expectation. But that doesn't mean that I wouldn't work hard. I work very hard. But I believe, when I say believe, I always smile because I remember one of my brothers, Bazimetusela, when you say believe, he has something to say. He's a great man of our land, and I respect his opinion. I believe that the divine is there to bless it. Yeah, this is what I have to say about this one, Mazi. Thank you.
You are very correct. You are very correct. Book Adam addresses our handwork and even the thought of our heart, the good thought of our heart. That's what he said already. Mazi, I don't know whether you want to delve in on that one in terms of how superstition could have a correlation with New Year resolution. In our culture, things like abomination, we know as R. Then, if someone is involved in any act, which their conscience tells them, war is an abomination, how are they able to make a resolution to stop that arrow, knowing already its consequences and the heavy load of all things on it? And also, about some of our other cultural beliefs that have to do with curses, say ancestral curses, or patterns, and other things that people think that maybe they have experts put on there. For nasi, aside Abumon, and then all these things that we all believe, like Sister said. If you go down to God, your chief personal God or guidance angel, he has the correctional ability to be able to lift you at Coven, if you like. So, in terms of superstition and now resolution, what is the connection?
Yeah, definitely. There's some atom of superstition in what we do because of our background, because of our cultural heritage. You observe, for instance, in Igbo culture, when we hold kola nut, some people may think what you are doing is prayer. But if you observe it very well, you find out that what we do is we pronounce and we declare. We have always believed in cause and effect. For people who commit error or abomination in our land, the consequences has always been something that you'll be lucky to be alive to tell the truth, the story. But you can as well agree with me that we are caught in between our cultural heritage and the beliefs, other beliefs we embrace, including Christianity. But the natural justice or the natural cause of things still reigns supreme, cause and effect. Those who do not turn a good leaf, because every society have do's and don'ts. Every society always encourage the citizens to uphold the good ethics. The good ethics, these are things that is non-negotiable. But when people want to deceive themselves, they want to commit something and want to justify it with some senseless arguments. Naturally, even in the Igbo society, people in the olden time were excommunicated, maybe so for some period of time, or maybe forever, depending on the magnitude of the offense they commit. These things were not born out of hatred. It was born to help the society to make sure that people, they protect lives and properties of every citizen. So while we are in this freedom movement, some people may come in, have their oath taken, and think they can eat their cake and have it back because of the society we have embraced. Nigeria have so polluted people that they have forgotten whom they are and what they should not be doing. It's like everything goes. That's why office holders take oath of office, and the next thing you say is the opposite. Embezzlement and all kinds of anomalies. But in IPOB, we will always encourage people, when you take the oath of allegiance, don't think it is for granted. It is deep rooted in who we are. We cannot run away from who we are. That's why in some places, even like in IPOB, when we're taking oath of allegiance, we take off our shoes. You connect to the Mother Earth. I can assure you that even so many office holders, as we have in Biafra land today, if you subject them to take oath of allegiance or oath of office in this way and manner, many of them will not accept the offices or the posts you're giving them. So I think it is something we must continue to uphold. It has a very positive impact in what we are doing to help our society to have checks and balances. That is what I can say for the time being. Thank you.
Thank you. And I don't know where you are listening from, your code, but thank you very much. You sent a test. Your call couldn't come through. You said we should ride on. You enjoying the program, and it's quite informative. Thank you for that. We appreciate. Dear listeners, this is still the UK Time Out on Radio Biafra. Tabu Bocheke Abalize Nimo Wambu Nafo Ho. Today is a K Market Day, the 5th of January 2025, brand new year. Once again, Happy New Year to you and your loved ones, wherever you're listening to us from. On the People's Parliament of our program this week, we are looking at New Year resolutions, declarations, and affirmations, their applications to the restoration of Biafra. How do what we decide on personal level translate and transcend to our objective of Biafra restoration? Because it has to start with us as individuals. And I have in the studios with me Reverend Sister Amarachi Chiazo, who is a healthcare professional, ordained minister of God as a Reverend Sister, and Elizabeth Machineke, a family member and principal officer in our Glasgow, Edinburgh zone in Scotland, here in the UK, as well as Sir Afunwa Okeje, who is a knight of the Church of the Roman Catholic and a traditionalist, just like myself. and also the zonal coordinator of our Meeting Keynes family in the West Midland region of the United Kingdom, IPOB family. And we've been doing justice to this topic. We would like to invite you to be part of us. There's still a bit of time. The numbers to call are, if you're calling from the UK here within the UK, you may call direct line 078-177-96032. I take that again, 078-177-96032. And if you're calling from outside of the UK, please call on WhatsApp, including the country code. That would be +44 781 779 6032 +44 781 779 6032. We'll be happy to get your own views. I said we want to know what is your key number one New Year resolution for 2025. How you think that will help advance our Biafra restoration mission and its objectives, and what advice you have for IPOB family worldwide and our leadership as well. I think they'll welcome it. You may as well test, as we have received a few tests already, which we acknowledge at the end, towards the end of the program. If you can't get through on the phone, you can send us a WhatsApp message or a text. And I think we're also live on our Facebook page. So there are many other avenues of reaching across to us. We will be happy to hear from you and also learn from your experience. Sister, Biafrans are people of faith generally, and Umushineke IPOB family members are no less. Could we leverage on our belief systems, such as religion, like religious like yourself? How could we leverage on that in terms of the decisions we make, the resolutions we make to advance our movement for restoration of Biafra?
There is something I've always said when I meet my Biafran brothers and sisters. I've always shared an experience I had in the United States of America. Those living there will confirm that in their churches, I will make reference to the Catholic Church, they have the American flag in the church. That shows you that even though you are a Christian, as a citizen, you have a role to play in the well-being of the nation. So I don't see our beliefs, I wouldn't want our beliefs to be an obstacle to our struggle. Because before believing in whatever, we were born in a family. And before our parents took us to church, our parents actually, we are born in a reality that has to do with values and principles. I believe if we can understand this, we'll go a long way. That our values and principles stand before any other belief. If we can understand this, we will not be having quarrels or misunderstanding, because that means that Biafra, the nation, stands. We have that duty. And whether you are religious, traditionalist, whatever thing you believe or you don't believe at all, this common desire, common goal must keep us together. So, it is obvious that presently there is this wrong conception of religion in Africa that is eating us deep. And a lot of us are revolting against it, which I quite understand, because personally I fight against it also. But we must not generalize, in the sense that we must consider the values and principles that unites us together before looking further to other things. Thank you.
There was Badabia from there. Mazi, we already agreed that if we as a people, or even as an individual, want religiously underline, keep their good New Year resolutions that will ultimately lead to reformations and positive transformation of any society, any nation, any structure. So how can we do that? I keep on going back to the same question, maybe just to get your own perspective. How could we practically translate our words into life, bring them to life?
Okay, resolution, as we have said, is a very fantastic way of that helps us to put ahead where we need to be. And that's where we need to be, speaking as an IPOB member, speaking as a Biafra. We know the stage we are. We know what we are facing. We don't need anybody to tell us what we have suffered and what we are still suffering. What IPOB, or as a member of IPOB, will say is this: while we encourage every Biafran to have a New Year resolution, we would want you to reflect on our collective interest. That collective interest, or let's say collective survival interest, that should be a pointer that when you make a resolution, ask this personal question: how will my resolution help my freedom? What can my resolution, what role can it play in the freedom of my people? If you look at when the DOIs rolled out the program to go back to the land, we knew what was going on, we knew the challenges in our land, and we knew that the enemy want to make our people beg for survival. And that is why they started killing our people in their farmlands. But since the inception of the ESN, we have been able to push them back. And we stood our ground and encouraged our people to go back to the land. I would urge our people, while we love our people, you can see what happens during celebrations, during Christmas and New Year. Before the Christmas, our people all over the world heading home. This is inborn. We do remember culturally when a child is born, we encourage our parents bury our umbilical cord in our land. And even for some of us outside the country, we have kept that tradition going. When my kids were born, I would travel to Biafra land and I'll keep the umbilical cord at the right place. These are some of the things that cause us home. These are things that link us to our source of life. So, what IPOB is saying, or what we are saying this night is, while you help our people during the celebrations, we could as well start from now, knowing that it's better to teach the people how to fish than to give them the fish, or give them bread, teach them how to bake the bread themselves. If we key into what IPOB has rolled out, imagine it with the resolution we have, we can say, instead of waiting till Christmas to buy 100 bags of rice, 200 bags of rice, and the rest of them, and we gather everyone in this community, at the end of the day they lose their life, stampede everywhere. Why don't you start now supporting the communities encouraging the youths, even those in the cities, whiling away their time for nothing, to go back to the land. You will see that we will generate wealth. We will be able to stabilize our society. Our people will not be migrating here and there. For those who have the resolution, or who will key into the call to invest in Biafra land, this is part of the collective survival. You are going to stop the generations migrating from our land to different places where they are not even welcomed. You are helping in stabilizing our society, that they will stay home and find their living, and will have continuity in what we do. So, having said this, I think that there should be way for everything we have decided to achieve this year 2025 to look and follow what IPOB is saying. We have to survive collectively. So ask yourself, your individual resolution, how does it accommodate this? I think that will be a starting point for us, and it will help us to get to where we intend to reach. Day one.
Wonderful. That's a great connectivity, linking it up from personal to the collective. And it's that time now that I probably will share my own New Year resolutions. Probably you haven't asked me before I come back to you to ask you what your prediction for this year will be. I'm sure you are all prophets, like Awonyendu is as well. So I don't know what you see in your crystal balls, but I'm going to ask you. Before then, let me share my own 2025 resolution. I will begin with the one that I think I already started making middle of the year, right from the time we had our AGM in London on the 29th of June last year. In this year, or rather from this year, I've made a resolve to stop using negative words or appellation in my reference or in relation to our Biafra restoration goal. A typical example, I want to keep it very simple. I don't want to give myself too much task. I have loads on my plate already. A typical example is that I have resolved to abolish the use of the word struggle. And from July, I started making research into how the word came about, even in liberation movements. My conclusion is that my research conclusion is that it's not really, it doesn't connote much of positive, it's more of negative. And spiritually thinking or reflecting, I began to think, some people will say, people of faith will say, from your mouth to the ears of God, what you profess is what you confess. And other philosophical goings that relate this. What we say with our mouth really is our life, in summary. So I personally am not imposing it on anybody. It's personal to me. If you want to, if you have some belief, maybe you can start it, is to abolish the word struggle, which I connote as negative, and rather to replace it with more positive synonyms or words. Example is movement, quest. Because if you're in movement, you are progressing, you are progressive. In quest is that you are seeking, you are learning, you're improving every time. Goal, you have something to look up to and you want to score the goal, you want to win. Project, pursuit, these are my synonyms rather, for the old word, struggle. Just as sister said, if you ever happen to notice or hear the slip of the tongue from me, it's one of those temptation and occasions where I may have fallen, but I will rise up. I will not remain down. But from this year, this January, I'm very cautious of it to abolish the word struggle and every other form of negativity in my mouth in relation to our mission achieve Biafra. On a personal level, I will take that back home as well. But I must also say that I have resolved to show more love, affection, attention, and care to my wife and my lovely children, to make out more quality time for them and recalibrate them higher in my premium priority scale. This is important. Family is the nucleus. Regardless of whatever pursuit, project, quest, movement we have, family comes first. And once that family is happy, stable, I think every other thing will follow suit. I'm not saying my family is not happy or unstable, but I think, to be fair, I need to give them more than I've given in the last year or a few other years. And I wish my all UK family members to do so. And the way to work out practically is not just saying it by mouth, it's by all of us being sincere, having the sincerity of purpose to collectively contribute and lessen the burden on certain people. I've never been one to complain, but in our IPOB family and the movement, the work of 100 people often is left for only 3 people to do. And still, some of the 97 will be grumbling with all negativity, backbiting, blackmail, lies, and all things against the 5 or 10 that is actually dying from the work that was meant to be for 100 people. That's very unfair. So I want people to reflect, look in the mirror, and also make a genuine resolution to chip in their own, do your own. Collectively, we will all come good. Of course, generally speaking, my resolution is that of consolidation. To consolidate on my strength or the good side of me, because I will never change from a good person to a bad person. I pray every day to change my bad to good and my good to better. So I will consolidate on my strength. Some of them I know: passion, compassion, empathy, diligence, devotion, dynamism, honesty, religious fire, and anger. Sometimes it's not everything that somebody judges you to be bad that is bad. Searching your soul and spirit, you know the truth. Somebody may judge you, then you can't stop people from judging you, but you know the truth. So it's to consolidate on my strength and work hard on my weaknesses. Some of the example of my weaknesses could be poor reaction to disappointments and dishonesty. I hate lies with a passion, and sometimes when people start telling lies, it gets me off and raises my temper. But I resolve to react better to them, regardless of disappointment or the situation, but to also remain firm and fair in doing the right thing, having no fear or favors, which is what this movement requires. This is not where you pander to people's emotions and sentiments, or do favoritism, or do cabals, or do cliques. The more you do such in this movement, the more you frustrate the restoration of Biafra, whoever you are, from Onyendu to the least of us. So that's my resolution, and I'm going to stand by it. And I say, may God help me. Then on another practical side, just like what Sister said, and Nazi you said about, what can you do? I've given my bit in the community here, the whole UK people know. But there's something that touched my heart last year. As I said, the number of people we lost. People whose average age is about 50-ish, my age group. Some, well, we don't know exactly what the autopsy says. Mysterious deaths, you might call them. But it's still natural. And in those losses, I have seen the pain our community has faced to support the bereaved, those who are mourning. I mean practical support, financial support I mean in particular. I've also seen a few occasions where somebody whose wish or will was very clear to me would have been for their body to be repatriated back home for burial. And which is one of the IPOB welfare charter that we provide for family members who are resolute, committed, fully engaged in what we are doing, financially committed. That is what IPOB owes you. But I also know that every time we lose somebody, right from the time I've been serving as leader of Igbo communities there, it takes a whole lot of burden, regardless of what the Constitution says, to raise enough funds to take the body back home, let alone even support the family. It's a burden, huge one. So I've come out with an idea. I will share that with people. With one of my friends, will be about 3, but we're trying to make it as large. The whole idea is sort of to provide that funeral support to grieving family, to fulfill the wish of the deceased. If it's to take them home, if it's to support the ones they left behind, it's entirely up to whoever is next of kin and the whole family to decide what they do. And I know it's going to be difficult if you think it was something a few people will do, because all the time we contribute, I see people are generous, still is not enough. But I've come out with an idea, if you like, call this an indigenous idea, of aggregating our people, those those who want to be part of the scheme, to be part of it, where it's a game of number. The more we are, not just Biafrans, not just Igbo, but I'm looking at Africa, because I'm also part of the African group here for years now. The more we are, the better, and then we'll have very little token to contribute each person. It is not an association, you don't pay any dues, you don't have any commitment, other than when there is a loss, God forbid there's any. The whole large number will commit to what we've all signed up to. Very little token, I'm thinking of in the range of £10 per head, but that £10 aggregate will be enough to serve useful purpose for the bereaved family. Now I'm sharing this idea, maybe some people might just think about it, because it pains my heart, the grief that goes with a grieving family and the pain that we go through financially to fulfill people's will. So that's my New Year resolution. That's where I will end it. Now I'll come back to you, sister, and Mazi. Please look in your crystal ball and tell me what you see 2020. What is your prediction for this year? I hope you have a crystal ball.
I would say my first prediction is I want Mazi to join us. And so that together with him we can continue this awareness towards our freedom. And I predict unity among our families, our IPOB families. That's the two things I desire so much. Thank you.
I say a big prediction. What is your crystal ball saying? Are you a Nostradamus or a pure?
You know, Mazi, we are Biafrans. And historically, Chukwokika Biama have always kept us aware or reveal to us what is going on around us. And that is why when we say that Umuchineke, the children of God, if you know that deep in your heart that you are a child of God, your Father will always reveal what you need to know. I see this, the prediction I have this year is that there's going to be a massive influx of people coming back to the fold, IPOB.
You see? Good.
Yes. And as well, I see that this year, that we are closer to where we are going than ever.
He said,
I see that this year, the enemies that thought that they are fighting us will see a greater power that will bring them down, whether they like it or not.
He said,
I see that this year, the hidden battle that Chukwokike have been fighting will be revealed, and it will happen like Ogeme Havamnanya. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, our leader, will walk out triumphantly.
He said,
I see that this year, those that were part of the plans against us, we start to confess. Agana Sosa.
He said,
a lot will happen to our good. Biafrans, remain steadfast. We are going home. There was.
I think you, sister, you will all have a 2020 vision. Because what you are seeing is exactly what I'm saying. I see release of Onyendu and the ratification of our Biafra referendum. After a huge tempest, it won't be easy. What I saw was very cloudy, like turmoil. I see an emerging world order with transformative policy shifts, different from what we have seen in the last 20 years, a generation. I don't know exactly when Donald Trump is sworn in. I'm not putting my hope on him, but I see end of this January the beginning of a new transformational, transformative world order. I'm despairing of what would have been another pandemic. I see that already reversed or cancelled. I also have seen attempts to assassinate two world leaders, but I didn't know exactly who they are. Two notable world leaders. Attempt, I didn't see clearly that it was successful, but it was brutal. And I see a collapse of a global economic giant. I don't know what it is, but there is a global economic scheme that maybe huge money has gone into that will collapse this year. I pray that it doesn't involve us and our own resources. I'll be asking you your passing shot as usual on this program while thanking you for your special time tonight being on this show. Of course, 2025, let us make resolutions that envision the restoration of our great nation, Biafra. Let our declarations engender an affirmation of our generationness. Whatever the resolution is this year, let's dissolve our fears, emotions, and sentiments in the ocean of resolute love and firm faith in our calling to fulfill the will of our Creator and the author and finisher of our destiny, Chukwu Kabiama. He called us on this mission for a reason. Please be reminded that the free Mazi Nnamdi Kanu online petition on change.org, launched by our First Lady and Onyendu's wife, Lord Uchechi Kanu, in October last year, is still ongoing. Kindly sign it if you haven't done so already. Don't forget to share it with your contacts and networks, encouraging their prompt signing. And of course, as Mazi said at the beginning of this program, big shout out to Hamadike's son, Nnabike Kanu, who turned 9 yesterday. Happy birthday and many more fruitful returns. Agunaya Nnabike, may you continue to grow strong in wisdom and the consciousness of your God-given talents and special gifts. He said, so, sister, what will be your passing shot, which is your closing remark to Biafrans and our great listeners?
I just want each and every one of us to actually work hard, believe in him or herself, and never back down. There will be reasons for you to think twice or maybe give up, don't give up. And there's always this particular motto I have: the fewer, the better. Even if everybody goes down, always see yourself as that last
especially in leadership, in decision making.
That last person that will keep that flag flying. All hail Biafra.
Biafra, we heard you. Thank you, Ezubada Biafra. Thank you. Mazi, what will be your passing shot, sir?
Yes, my passing shot to all Biafrans is to reflect, to see that we have come a long way, and as well to know that IPOB have been tested and proven to be real. We are genuine. We will never deceive our people. We urge you to embrace with two hands, with your whole heart, the movement for our freedom, which is a collective freedom. I urge you all to watch out for each other. Be your brother's keeper. Onunube, one naba and also. These virtues we are known for is actually the main backbone of our movement. IPOB is ideologically consistent. We remain the conscience and the consciousness of our people.
We are the conscience and the consciousness of our people. That's our package this week. Next Sunday, we will have our January special guest episode featuring the IPOB European rep, a member of the Directorate of State, US, my own direct boss, Maazi Austin Abanyem, to break down the 2025 IPOB policy directions, as well as project into vital reformations within the global movement's objectives. It promises to be yet another bumper edition. Don't miss it. Why don't you join me and Maazi Abanyem next Sunday, and of course be part of it by phoning in. Until then, on behalf of the entire UK IPOB family, I thank you all for listening, as well as appreciate Maazi Chukwuemeka Alozie and the entire Radio Biafra crew for their support in making it possible for this broadcast to reach you. From me, from here, it's a very happy new year. Good night. God bless.